Once you get comfortable using the store button, you can start to use the more advanced test button, which is found right here. Now you'll notice if you look closely, the test button is located above the math button. In order to activate any of the blue functions on the calculator, you obviously press the blue button, that second button. So in order to use the test, you have to press second and then the math function. All right, let me show you how it works, and we'll look at some examples, okay? And again, we're looking at the test button, and this button is the way we test answers for any equation. The steps are pretty simple. You do need to know the store. You're going to store the answer that you want to test, type in the equation you are testing, and then you press enter, and that will actually tell you whether the equation is true or false. Now we're going to look at a very easy one, and I would probably say that this is better for testing your answers as opposed to testing answers. I'm going to show you both ways though. Let's say I have this problem on a final exam. I multiply through, I get 2x plus 6 equals 5. I take 6 away from both sides, leaving me with -1, and I divide by 2, giving me x equals -1 divided by 2, or -1/2. Alright, the way I would test this on my calculator, the first thing I want to do is store the answer that you want to test. So the answer I want to test is -1/2. Now let me fix this problem real quick. Should be 1/2. Alright. So I'm going to store -1/2, and when you type in a fraction, all the division bar is saying that this is a fraction, and then just like the last video, we covered how to store it, so I stored that as x. Now I'm going to, instead of typing in 2 times the quantity x plus 3, and then finding out if it's 5, I'm going to type the whole equation in. 2x plus 3, and now I hit the second test button. Alright, right over there. You see how the test, and when it comes up, it's going to give me a list of all the different ways we can compare two expressions. I want to know if they're equal and if it's equal to 5. So when I hit enter, if it comes up as a 0, that means it's false. If it comes up as a 1, it is true. It says 1, so I know for a fact that the answer is this, and there's no need to come back and check. Let's look at a problem. Let's take a geometry problem. Okay, so we have the problem 3x plus 1 is the midpoint of RS. So RS is our line, M is our midpoint, which means that RM, this segment right here, is going to be equal to RS. Excuse me, MS. Alright, so I'm going to solve it. And it's up to you. I'm going to ask you to pause right now and either solve this equation or test the answers. Okay, so let's see if you got the correct answer. Hopefully you paused there. So I'm going to take 3x away from both sides, giving me x minus 2 equals 1. I add 2 to both sides, giving me x equals 3. So I'm going to follow the steps that I used to test an answer. So I'm going to store the answer I want to test. The answer I'm testing is 3 stored 4x. And then I'm going to type the entire equation in. 3x plus 1 second test is equal to 4x minus 2. And again, the key here is you're not getting an answer. I don't want anybody to hit enter and think 1 is the answer. What we're testing is this good for the equation I wrote? Remember, 0 is false, 1 is true. I hit enter. It says 1. Perfect. I got the correct answer. I'm good to go. Let's look at another way this can be set up. Now this would be an example where if you weren't sure how to solve, you could store and test the answer to find out if it's correct. So what I'm going to do is, I see that 14 shows up twice, so I'm going to test that first. So let's start here. I'm going to go 14 stored as x, and now I'm going to go x squared minus 12x second test is equal to 28. 0 is false, 1 is true. I got a 1. Okay, now that means 14 is true for this equation. Don't stop there, okay? That also means that this doesn't list both of them, but notice this has 2. So this question's trying to catch me where I only solved for one of the answers. I can tell it's a second degree. That means there's 2 possible answers for this. So I'm going to test -2 next. So again, I go -2. Now be careful here. The calculator is very particular. It does not like -2. Let me show you. If I were to use the minus button and store it, actually, they might have fixed this. Hold on. It says go to error syntax. That means I typed something wrong. Don't hit quit when you see that. Always go to the error so you can find it. So I click go to, and it takes me right to that minus sign saying that's not how we entered this into this calculator. You have to use this negative button down here. So I change it so it says -2 stored as x. I hit enter, and then I type this in again, x squared minus 12x equals second test equals 28. I hit enter. It says 1. It's true. Since it's a second degree, there are only 2 possible answers. Since both of these are correct, that is it. No need to go on. I hope these help you on your final.